In this video, we will be exploring the idea of the Haunted Mansion ride as a television series. Let's talk about the 2023 Haunted Mansion film. The movie was surprisingly fun to watch. I truly enjoyed every single character, except for Madame Leota, the Hatbox Ghosts, and all of the rest of the ghosts in the mansion. Can we also talk about the cringy dance scene at the end of the film? I can't. Okay, so they made it into a movie. Now, why would they want to turn it into a television series, right? Who needs a long series about people who are already dead? Let's take a look at the Haunted Mansion ride located in both Disneyland and Disney World. The ride hints at a vast and intricate backstory. Characters like Master Gracie, Madame Leota, and Constant Hatchaway, the Hatbox Ghosts, and the Ghost Hosts all have stories, but none are fully explained on the ride. A TV series could expand on these characters, connect their stories, and build a larger mythology. Just like The Mandalorian and Boba Fett coming out of Star Wars. The ride isn't just horror, it's a mix of mystery, gothic romance, dark comedy, and adventure. Okay, now let's talk about the 2023 Haunted Mansion film. When the film was in production mode and they were introducing the cast, I was very excited to know that Winona Ryder and Tiffany Haddish would be featured in the film. Winona has a history of being featured in films with supernatural themes, for example, her most recent Stranger Things and Beetlejuice. Tiffany Haddish was featured in the well-received film Ghost Trip, which also takes place in New Orleans. Now, in terms of their roles in the film, I expected something quite different. Winona Ryder would have been an amazing Constance Hatchaway, thus continuing her supernatural theme. I was unimpressed with how she was only in the film for a short period of time. Tiffany Haddish's character, I'd say, was quite fun to watch, especially when she talks about her sisters and how evil they are. As someone who loves vintage-themed movies and television series, I fell in love with Ben's house. They are called Creole cottage houses and they are beautiful. Unfortunately, according to the internet, the house isn't real and it is a set piece. But if you visit the Garden District, you will find more houses like these. Back to the brief 2023 Haunted Mansion movie review. More parts of the film are problematic. For example, the introduction of the film. It starts with Madame Leota telling us that New Orleans is a most paranormal place. I personally think that the city of New Orleans could have played a role in the film. I would have loved to see the cemeteries at night in the city coming to life with all of these ghosts, especially their museums. That would have been fun to watch. With shows like Ghost Adventures and so many YouTubers traveling to New Orleans and blogging about the city, we all already know the city has a terrifying and tragic past. Now, I'm not here to tell you how the film should have been, detail by detail, but I do want to visually show you a version that is way more interesting. What if the Haunted Mansion ride was a television series set in the 1800s and it takes place in New Orleans? You'd have your streetcars and your horses and everyone just dressing in their colonial outfits. I am not a historian, so I wouldn't necessarily go into detail on how historically correct this entire series would be. So the first character we meet in this so-called made-up series is George Gracie instead of Master Gracie. He doesn't have a name for himself just yet because he is in the streets scrubbing shoes and just trying to get through life with every penny he makes. George Gracie is starting off as a young man scrubbing shoes, and as someone in that time, I'd say doing this kind of profession, they wouldn't have enough money to have their own place, so I'd assume he'd stay with a roommate. So George Gracie over time expands his shoe scrubbing skills, and as a result, he receives more customers than usual. With the chaos of the city, he realizes that he needs to find a closed area to continue his shoe scrubbing business. He makes his way to the bank and pulls out a loan to open up his shoe scrubbing store. As time flies, we see him accumulating more money than usual. He is selling specific shoe cleaning supplies and designing specific shoes for his customers. He is in money-saving mode until one day, he makes enough to actually go to town and search for land. Each land he encounters, locals claim the land would be at risk of floods or very bad storms. George Gracie sets out to find land away from town. He stumbles upon a land suitable for construction, until a local tells him how the land has a terrible past. 3 men were caught in quicksand, and another man blew himself up accidentally by igniting a stick of dynamite. George Gracie buys the land despite of all these superstitions. We, the audience, get to firsthand see the construction of the mansion. As the proud owner of the Gracie estate, Master Gracie sets out to hire staff to work at his mansion and orders them all to wear the cleaner versions of the green and black maid attire that we all know from the ride. This is where I envisioned Tiffany Haddish's character to be involved. I'm going to call her Nora Cole. Nora is walking around the streets of New Orleans looking for paid work because she was let go by her original owner, who was way too old and he sold his property. She stumbles upon an advertisement stating that the Gracie estate is in need of a maid. She makes her way to the mansion and is amazed by how beautiful it is, with its luscious gardens and just the overall architecture. She's admiring it all. She makes her way inside and introduces herself. She goes through the interview and gets hired. Now, we get a unique scene of Master Gracie enjoying his newfound wealth by purchasing artwork and decorating his library room. We also see the employers working at the mansion, minding their business and getting their work done, but they are unfortunately treating each other with disrespect because they are all fighting for more pay. The town is hit one day with yellow fever, which, fun fact, was an event that did happen in the 1800s, specifically in New Orleans. Nora has a skill in herbal medicine, so she goes out risking it all and collects plants to create a medicine that eases the effects of yellow fever. Master Gracie gets better, and thus Nora gets promoted. This concludes part 1 of this video. If you really like this version of the story, please select the like button and subscribe. Stick around for part 2, where we will be introducing Madame Leota's backstory.